Hi, everyone. Well, you know how I love meeting new people and finding out about their careers. And there's people that have more than one career, which is the case of today's guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Warwick. Welcome to the, sorry, I said Bob, Rob Warwick. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Nancy. I appreciate it.
I should read that. You know, I've got this here with your name right there, nice and clear.
Yes, you do. Yeah, that's the real estate bio you've got there. But yeah. It's actually, yeah.
But you also have, well, let's talk about the real estate afterwards, okay? If that's all right.
Sure. Yeah.
But you also have Rocket Boy, and it's an entertainment business. You book events for what am I can't even think of the words. My brain's gone dead. You book like people like Jan Arden and
that's right. Yeah. Rocket Boy Entertainment. We're a concert promotion company.
There you go.
We've been promoting concerts throughout the Fraser Valley and into Vancouver for, oh gosh, about 20 odd years now. We basically just do events in performing arts centers, theaters, mid-sized theaters, anywhere between 500 to 1,500 seats is kind of our comfort level. We just had Jan Arden out in Chilliwack at the Chilliwack Cultural Center at the end of June, sold out show.
Yeah, I was there, but I didn't see the show because I was doing something else.
Okay.
I volunteered there, so I could have seen her show. But
you could have seen her. I'm sure we'll bring her back, or we'll have something else in there. I do a fair number of shows at the Chilliwack Cultural Center throughout the course of the year, and I do a lot out in Mission at the Clark Theatre. And we recently expanded into other markets across Canada. And right before COVID hit, we expanded into the United States.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing shows in Arizona, Washington State, and I've had a couple in California over the last couple of months in places like Santa Barbara and Rio Grande, just that's near the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. So yeah, in order to keep my U.S. visa, I have to have a certain number of U.S. shows, and yeah, that's a very valuable document to have.
Yeah, betcha.
Yeah.
You have some really big names. Barenaked Ladies, Crash Test Dummies, Nazareth. Oh my gosh, it goes on and on.
Fun fact, Nazareth did their last full-length performance with Dan McCafferty singing in Chilliwack. Dan unfortunately has COPD.
Yes.
And he had to retire from performing, but he literally did his last full-length performance with Nazareth at the Chilliwack Cultural Center. There's a little, just not a great thing, but that band was fabulous to work with. They were all pros. I've really enjoyed my time working with them over the years.
Nice. What I don't understand is how on earth do you contact them? How do you get through to whatever, I don't know, like you can't just pick up the phone and say, hi, I'm Rob.
Well, I've been doing it for 20 odd years and they tend to find me now.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And they people in the business kind of know, who I am. So if they're routing a tour, they'll call me and ask me if I'm interested in, promoting a couple of dates with the artist. That's where I really have to know the market that I'm promoting into to know what that artist is capable of doing and drawing in that particular market and whatnot. So, there's a bit of science about it. You can't just pull the trigger, bring the band in, and hope that people are going to buy tickets, because sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
And with COVID and whatnot, it really has changed the business. Because I've always dealt with a bit of an older audience. Right. It's always been my niche in the market, and there is a level of people being uncomfortable at time to time. I mean, I haven't noticed it yet, but it could happen. It could happen. So you just got to be cautious, and not to mention everyone's touring right now,
right,
making up for lost time. So there's so many shows out there, and there's only so much discretionary revenue for people to go out and spent on entertainment. So you do have to kind of be careful of what you're doing at this point. But I still do it and I love it. And yeah.
I would think for doing it those many years, you have to really enjoy what you're doing, right?
You really do. You know,
That's really cool. I like that.
yeah. So I managed to survive a pandemic and keep the company going, thankfully.
Right.
And but we had 2-year hiatus where I couldn't do anything. So my girlfriend suggested to me, Rob, why don't you get yourself a real estate license? It's virtually the same business. So rather than sitting on my hands for the last 2 years, I went and got myself a real estate license.
Well, like, why not?
Well, yeah, you know, it's something that has always interested me.
Yeah.
As I said, it's virtually the same business in a lot of respects.
Okay.
And the two businesses complement each other quite well, you know, in a lot of ways. So yeah, I joined Remax Colonial Pacific in White Rock. That's where my home office is. I operate out of White Rock.
Okay.
So I focus on selling real estate in the White Rock, South Surrey area, but you know, I do have the ability to sell all over British Columbia. Of course, being with Remax, and we have relationships with local agents in the local Remax offices in Chilliwack, and of course, having done shows in all those markets over the years, I know them quite well. So that's helpful, and you know, for a small additional fee, we can always have your favorite band play at your housewarming party.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be cool? Sharon, I wish I made money doing this show. I do it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the market seems to have slowed down, at least in.
Yeah, there's well, in my market, White Rock, South Surrey specifically, you know, properties are still selling. You're not getting the multiple offers we had several months ago, but if your property's priced right and you're selling a quality product, things are moving.
Okay. All right.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone needs a place to live at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I live in a condo, and 2 of them have been up for sale for a little while now. I don't know if the price is good or not. Maybe it's too high. Like, I don't know. I have no way of
Yeah.
right?
Well, I know we had a property in our office that was listed. It was a bungalow, and it was priced right, and it actually sold over asking in a day.
Oh my gosh.
So that is the key. It's got to be a quality product, a quality property, and it's got to be priced right. And if it's priced right, it'll go. Yeah.
It must make everybody happy when it sells overpriced, the real estate and the homeowner, right?
Well, actually, it's a bit more of a normal market, and honestly, you know, I've only been selling about a year, but everyone that tells me it's much easier to sell in this type of market. I mean, when we were in all the multiple offers, it was tough for my buyers to be competing, because I mean, you'd be up against so many different offers, and people would be paying far, you know, way over asking for their properties, and then they get into trouble. You know, they can't afford it. So yeah, it's a little easier for buyers and whatnot to get in. You know, the interest rates have gone up, but
yeah, I heard that a lot of, like, Asians are coming in and buying homes. Is that your experience?
I guess in some markets there have, but I haven't really, you know, in the places I saw, I haven't had any, but they're certainly out there. You know, but there's all kinds of people buying properties right now. Yeah, so everyone always needs a place to live. So that's a beautiful thing. You know, they can shut down concerts, but can't really shut down the housing market.
So you get a call. Let's just say you get a call from a homeowner who wants to list their place, and you go in and do you make suggestions for them? Let's say it's too much stuff around, or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. I'll go in, I'll do a market evaluation on the property and pull up comparables of other properties in the neighborhood that have, you know, sold and whatnot. So we get an idea of the price. And if I see anything that, you know, should be addressed, you know, to make it show better, I will always make those suggestions to people. Absolutely, because representing a seller, it's my job to make sure they sell their property and get the best price they can get for it.
Right, yeah. And
And
what's
of course,
those shows where people maybe in New York are selling homes or apartments for millions of dollars and people pay in cash sometimes. Do you have anything like that?
well, I haven't, but of course, if that were to happen, we have to fill out various FinTrack forms to make sure there's no money laundering or any,
Wow.
shady businesses going on. We got to be very careful of that. So I haven't had anything that would raise alarm bells, but certainly if you have those feelings where there could be someone's paying in cash, you're obligated to report those sort of activities. That definitely raises a flag. And then you've got to ask, what are you doing? Where are you getting this money from and whatnot? You have to.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So.
No, and here's another thing, because I think a lot of people think they can get more. Sometimes a lot of people think they can get more than they realize, right? Most people want the most they can get, I would think, for their home. Are there many people
Yes.
that put too high a price on their place?
Well, there can be, absolutely. There are people that, ultimately you got to do what your client wants. You can make the suggestions, but ultimately they're going to be the one that says, we want to list it. And you can price yourself a little too high, and then your property sits there and it's not selling. So then eventually, as a realtor, you got to go back and say, okay, well, this is what I think we should do. Bring your price down. And, we've had to do that on a number of occasions, suggest, and then you lower your price, especially if there's another property in the same area that might be a better quality selling for less. So you have to, in this market, you do have to make adjustments if needed.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're setting up for an open house, is it best if the clients leave, not be there when people are coming through? Because
you don't want the client there. Yeah, and I actually love doing open houses. That's one of the ways I build my business: open houses and door knocking. Surprisingly, all skills in which I learned promoting concerts.
okay.
For the many years I ran around Chilliwack and the Fraser Valley putting up posters in people's businesses trying to promote my shows.
Right.
It's the same mindset when I go knocking on people's doors, and I don't have a problem doing that. I'll go to anybody's door. It can be a multi-million-dollar mansion. I'll say, "Hi, I'm Rob from Remax Colonial Pacific. Property down the street just sold for X amount of dollars. Tell me for the right price. Have you ever thought about selling your property?"
Yeah.
And that's a great conversation. They get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
They see my face. I send out a lot of postcards in the mail.
Okay.
So again, my marketing skills from promoting shows over the year taught me how to market myself. That's what you're doing, selling real estate. You're marketing yourself, and it's all about name recognition.
Right.
So the more people see it, people get my postcard in the mail that I'm showing up on their doorstep. Hey, I'm Rob from. Eventually they start thinking of, okay, well, if we want to sell our property, they may not want to sell today or tomorrow, but eventually they may or they may know somebody that wants to buy or sell a property. So hopefully I'll be of top of mind when that day comes around. I'm always talking to people, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
Of course, when I'm promoting a concert, I always make sure I have my banner and have a captivative audience. There's a lot of opportunities for both businesses.
So, obviously it takes a special skill. I think not everybody's a salesperson. At least I'm just terrible at it. Is that a talent you've always had?
I'm not really sure what it is. I just kind of put my head down, put one foot in front of the other, and just keep on moving forward. Slow and steady wins the battle.
Yeah.
That's what I've always done. I guess I'm a natural. I'm not really sure. I never really thought of myself as a natural salesperson. I just enjoy what I do. I guess I never really wanted to work at a 9-to-5 job. So that's one of my motivations. I've always worked for myself, and being a real estate agent, you're working for yourself, being a concert promoter.
Right.
I'm working for myself. So yeah, I'm almost unemployable. So show some jobs right.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's fascinating. Like even for me, when I'm looking for people to interview, like having a cold call is really tough for me. So I rely on Facebook or recommendations from other people, whatever, because I find it difficult. As much as I enjoy doing this, I love doing this, whether it's in person or on camera, but to make a cold call, I start shaking even thinking.
Well, I'll let you on a little secret. Although I like promoting shows, I hate crowds.
Okay.
I like to create the crowd. I just don't want to hang out in it.
Yeah, yeah. I have social anxiety, so
Yeah, there you go.
I hear
So,
you, and it's difficult
yeah,
when you do what you do. Sometimes people want you to be there or whatever.
oh yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
very
They do
difficult.
want you to be there. So I'm usually the guy standing in the back of my shows. Yeah, just saying, okay, this is cool. I put this together. Okay, this is
Yeah,
great. Nobody knows who I am. The only people that need to know who I am are the venue and the artist. That's it. No one else does.
yeah, yeah.
But when I'm selling real estate, I want everybody to know who I am
Different thing,
at
right?
that level. In some ways, it's a very similar business, as I said. In other ways, it's they both got their little nuances about them. Big thing, concert promotion. The crowd comes to me.
Yeah,
My customer comes to me. Selling real estate, I have to go find my customer.
yeah, yeah.
But as I said, all the skills I've learned promoting concerts and promoting events has really set me up well to excel in the real estate world.
Right.
And I think we were mentioning, we got sidetracked about how I set the price for people. I do a market evaluation of someone's property and run some comparables based on other sales and actives in that market, and we get an idea of the price. And then it's make the suggestion to the seller that, okay, this is what you should be pricing. But as I said, it's ultimately their decision. And at times they may want to go a little higher than what I may suggest, and you may have to go back after a couple of weeks. Well, not selling. I suggest you might want to think about dropping the price a little bit, especially if you've got another house around the corner that might be of better quality or a nicer property selling for less than. Absolutely, you gotta make those adjustments.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries.
How difficult is it for when somebody's like they have their subject to selling? Like, I mean, they want to put an offer on the house, but it's subject to selling their own place.
You're starting to see a little bit more of that right now. Several months ago, you just got put on another pile. Doing it that way, you're doing it in reverse that way.
Right.
It's not the best case scenario because usually, people when they're buying a property, they want to get the person buying obviously wants to get the best possible deal on a property. Well, if you have to have that subject to the sale of your other property, it's hard to ask for a deal if you're also asking the seller to hang on to their property.
Yeah.
And then what happens in a lot of cases, say for instance, you do happen to get an accepted offer with that condition, you have to, subject to sale of your own property. Well, if you do get that offer accepted, but you have to clear that subject, well, the person, the buyer's already kind of mentally moved in. Right? And then they've sort of set themselves up where they kind of have to take almost less for their property because they have to sell it quickly to complete on their new property. And a lot of times when you do something like that in reverse, if someone accepts your offer based on a subject to sale, they'll usually put a 24, 48, or 72-hour clause on, which means you've got 24, 48, or 72 hours to clear that. So yeah, you're setting yourselves up to having to take less for your property, and then you're not in the best of buying positions when you have to do that. But as I said, with this market, we are starting to see a little bit more of that right now. But I always suggest it's, if you can, it's best to do it. Sell your property. You can always put on you can have it complete and then put a longer closing period on it so you can stay in your property while you're looking for another property.
So what would be your best advice for somebody selling?
Well, make sure your property, you've got to, make sure it's well maintained, make sure it looks nice, make sure it shows nicely, and price it properly. That's where you want to talk to a professional like myself that can help you make those decisions and make sure it's priced properly, and then make sure that I market it properly. All my contacts, the public, I hold open houses and whatnot, get the word out that the property is available, and sell it as quickly as we can.
Right. Now, same thing. What's your best advice for a buyer?
A buyer, well, if I'm representing a buyer, you want to do your due diligence, right? Check out the property and make sure you're getting the best possible price for it.
Would you advise always getting an inspector?
Absolutely. I think it's a very good idea to be getting an inspector to know what you're walking into. It's always good to do your due diligence. If you're buying a condo, of course, you want to make sure you're reading all the strata documents, make sure there's no upcoming special levies. You want to make sure there decent contingency fund in there. Make sure, if you have a pet, you want to make sure you're reading the pet bylaws. If you have a big dog and it says you're only allowed a dog that's 10 pounds and you're coming in with a golden retriever, well, and you got to really read the strata documents. I always will read the strata documents, but I always advise my clients to make sure that they go over it as well, because you don't want any surprises when it comes to selling strata properties like that.
Right. Now, speaking of animals, if somebody has what's the word? An animal that's that they need for their health reasons. My gosh, my brain's not functioning. With papers and a guide dog, whatever.
A guide dog, yes.
Does that have to be reported to a potential buyer that there's one in the building? Even though it's
you definitely have to get the strata's approval in that case. You just don't want to, you got to let them know and make sure that it is approved. It should be, I would think, but you want to make sure you've, ask the right questions. You don't want any surprises, because there are some buildings that, no pets, no rentals, no nothing. Yeah. Which in my opinion, I think that's, bad for sales. No pets, no rentals are very hard to sell buildings like that.
Yeah, that's my building. That's
yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I can understand big dogs or vicious dogs, but I mean, little doggies. One. I mean, that's
I'm an animal lover, so that does bother me. But I chose to buy here, so I have to.
Well, that's fine, and you got a beautiful property, and you got a roof over your head, so that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh yeah, I've been in buildings. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, it's just I'm an animal. I have a little doggy too. I just got a little Bichon Shih Tzu. Sparky, I don't know where he is. I can find him. Sparky, I don't know. Sparky. He's a very cute puppy dog. I got him in Winkler, Manitoba.
Oh, very good. All right. So now I know, obviously you have a website for both your businesses, right?
I do, yeah. Rocket Boy Entertainment and Rob Warwick Personal Real Estate Corporation. And you'll notice the logos look pretty similar, because I did that purposely. Yeah.
I'm sure your website is included. Well, I think we're going to end it there. I just want to thank you for doing this with me.
Thanks, Nancy. I appreciate it. I think we just I just added you as a friend on Facebook. The next thing you know, you're asking me to do an interview. So see what happens, and you just hit, friend request. Good things happen.
Yeah, it's cool. No, just stay. So hold on. Stay on camera for a second. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. I hope you enjoyed learning and learning more about Rob Warwick. I'm gonna put his information out there, and I just say that when he said that the Jan Arden show sold out in July, the lineup was unbelievable. I know I was there that week. I just didn't get this year, but I could hear her. So that was really.
You could hear. I could shamefully promote my other shows quickly. Tom Cochran coming to Mission, September the 11th. Also in September, Serena Ryder, Corb Lund, Jesse Cook. The dates are on my website, but they're all in about the same week. So there you go.
Very nice.
Other good things to come.
Very nice. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you subscribe, and share. I always tell people, share. Don't be selfish, okay? Other people might like to hear my show. Anyway, thanks again, everyone, and take care, and peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.